It is time for gentlemen to become rogues.
The King's Man is an odd movie to review. It's wildly overstuffed yet often delightfully unhinged, but its many tonal and narrative contradictions create a situation where it's hard to quantify how it works as a whole. What we can say though is that its triumphant action and epic performances are dragged down by a confused story and overlong runtime.
Why is it that boys are always so messy?
The King's Man acts as a sprawling prequel to the Kingsman series, attempting to build out the world and origins of the independent spy agency. Its impressive ensemble cast is led by Ralph Fiennes in a turn equally overtly somber and broadly humorous. As Shola, Djimon Hounsou continues his career as the absolute best thing in any comic book movie. Gemma Arterton brings a perfectly crude edge as Polly, a foul-mouthed housekeeper turned secret agent, and then there's Rhys Ifans in a career best and absolutely deranged turn as Rasputin. He's unbelievable. As the world looks towards World War I, the King's Man begins. The story follows Fiennes' Duke of Oxford, who becomes a pacifist after a family tragedy. That thread is key as it represents the half of the film which will likely be the most challenging for viewers. More than half of the runtime is concerned with the nature of war, the importance of peace, and the Duke of Oxford's struggle with his son's quest to fight for his country. While those could be interesting things to explore, the film barely has anything new to say on those matters. These segments mostly serve only in slowing the wildly paced secondary plot, which is far more engaging and delivers some truly stunning action. The action is easily the movie's highlight. There are enough standouts of stunt work here that you have to wonder whether there's a slicker 90-minute cut of the film that focuses solely on the brilliant choreography and less on the meandering of it all. Instead, The Kingsman finds itself fighting a battle between old and new, not just in the sense of director Matthew Vaughn trying to redefine the franchise, but also in the concept of redefining what an intelligence agency can be. In that way, The Kingsman works as sort of a utopian fantasy where all classes and kinds of people can work together for a perceived greater good. But the lower class people still work for the aristocracy, and the agency is still called the King's Man, so that gives you an idea of how independent or different it really is. If you can look past all those glaring issues and want some rip-roaring pulpy fun, then you might find a new favorite in Vaughn's third movie. It erases much of the weird sexual humor of the first two, replacing it with out there action and a lot of father and son drama. Those tonal shifts, though, are hard to swallow and add to the often unhinged nature of the film. The notion and motives of the villains leave a nasty aftertaste too. The King's Man too easily generalizes when it comes to its idea of who's good and who's evil, especially seeing as the film is aiming to fit into actual historical events and change them. Even at its wildest though, it's both grounded and elevated by its brilliant cast. Hounsou and Arterton shine, and finds as well when he's alongside them. Aaron Taylor Johnson also has a small role so good that it'll leave you wishing it was bigger. Sadly, Harris Dickinson's role of the Duke's son Conrad is very much a forgettable one, which is a big problem considering it's supposed to be the emotional heart of the story. The ambitious, strange, and overstuffed The King's Man really does have magic woven in it. The action is stunning. Djimon Hounsou, Gemma Arterton, and Ralph Fiennes are great. The writing is at times laugh out loud funny, but it also drags, gets confused with its own logic and politics, and struggles to make any clear statements on things that take so much time and effort to explore.
Formation of the greatest spy agency, the Kingsman.
For more, check out what we thought of Nightmare Alley and West Side Story, and for everything else, stick with IGN.
I know you want to fight, but there are other ways of doing your duty. Come on.